400 years. 400 years of slavery. 400 years of back-breaking labor under the Egyptian sun. Hauling stone, mixing mortar, building monuments to a pharaoh who didn't even know their names. This is the story of how God heard the groaning of a people and reached down into history to set them free. This is the story of Moses and the Exodus, one of the most dramatic rescue operations the world has ever seen. It began long before Moses was born. The children of Israel had come to Egypt as honored guests. The family of Joseph, a man who had saved Egypt from famine, but generations passed, new kings rose, and the new Pharaoh looked at the growing population of Israelites and felt something cold move through his chest. Fear, there were too many of them, too strong. What if they turned against Egypt? So he enslaved them. He drove them into the brick fields and the quarries. He gave them impossible quotas and beat them when they failed. And still Israel grew. So Pharaoh did something monstrous. He ordered that every Hebrew baby boy born in Egypt be thrown into the Nile River. It was into this world that Moses was born. His mother hid him for 3 months, but a baby cannot stay hidden forever. So she wove a basket of reeds, waterproofed it with tar and pitch, and placed her infant son inside. She set him among the reeds at the edge of the Nile and told his older sister Miriam to watch from a distance. Pharaoh's own daughter came down to the river to bathe, and there, floating in the reeds, she found the basket. When she opened it and saw the baby crying, something inside her broke open. She knew it was a Hebrew child. She knew what the law demanded, and she chose to ignore it. She adopted the boy as her own, and she named him Moses because she drew him out of the water. Miriam, watching from the reeds, seized her moment. She stepped forward and offered to find a Hebrew woman to nurse the baby. Pharaoh's daughter agreed, and so Moses was nursed and raised in his earliest years by his own mother, paid to care for her own son right under Pharaoh's nose. Moses grew up in the palace, educated, privileged, a prince of Egypt in every outward appearance, but he never forgot who he was. And one day, as a grown man, he went out to where his people were laboring and watched an Egyptian taskmaster beating a Hebrew slave. Something snapped inside him. He looked around, saw no one watching, and killed the Egyptian, burying him in the sand. The next day, he tried to intervene in a fight between 2 Hebrews. One of them sneered at him. "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me like you killed the Egyptian?" Moses went cold. People knew. When Pharaoh heard about it, he ordered Moses killed. Moses fled, a prince with nothing. He ran to the desert of Midian, sat down by a well, and helped some shepherd girls water their flocks. Their father, a priest named Jethro, invited him to stay. Moses married Jethro's daughter Zipporah, and for 40 years he lived as a shepherd in the wilderness. The palace was a memory. Egypt was far away. Moses had become exactly what Egypt had always considered the Hebrews to be, a nobody with sheep. But God had not forgotten his people. And one day, while Moses was leading the flock near a mountain called Horeb, he saw something extraordinary. A bush on the hillside was on fire, but it wasn't burning up. The flames danced, but the branches weren't turning to ash. Moses turned aside to look more closely, and out of the burning bush, a voice spoke his name. "Moses, Moses." "Here I am," he answered. "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals. You are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face, terrified, and the voice continued, "I have seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out. I know their suffering, and I have come down to rescue them. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt." Moses stood there at the burning bush and did what most of us would do. He argued, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh?" God answered, "I will be with you." Moses said, "What if they ask your name?" God answered, "Tell them I am who I am sent you." Moses said, "What if they don't believe me?" God gave him miraculous signs, his staff turning into a serpent, his hand turning leprous and then healed. Moses said, "I'm not a good speaker." God said, "I made your mouth. Your brother Aaron will speak for you. Now go." If this story moved you, hit subscribe and ring the bell. We bring these ancient stories to life every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. And if you want to go even deeper, there is nothing like reading these stories for yourself in your own Bible. We've linked to a few of our favorite editions in the description below. Pick one up, open it to 1 Samuel chapter 17, and read it with fresh eyes. You will never see it the same way again. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.